What's up, everybody? This is Jeff Moore, currently serving as the CEO of ICE. And before we jump into today's episode, let me take a moment to introduce Jane, the clinic management software and EMR that so many of us in the ICE community use and practice. Change is a normal part of clinic life. Maybe you're expanding your team, introducing new offerings, or growing your client list. As your clinic evolves, it's important to have an EMR that not only supports those changes, but also grows with you. Jane's new Balance, Practice, and Thrive pricing plans offer flexibility, allowing you to easily switch from one plan to another depending on your current and future needs. There's no long-term commitment either, just simple month-to-month payments that let you focus on running your clinic. And with every plan, you get features like one-on-one telehealth, email appointment reminders, and unlimited support. Visit jane.app/pricing to find a plan that fits your needs starting at $39 a month here in the US. And when you're ready to get started, use the code ICEPT1MO to sign up for a 1-month grace period on your new account. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Jeff, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
If you had to give up riding the horse or the motorcycle for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Man, that's a tough one.
That's the idea.
I hate to say it, but probably the horse.
Oh, wow.
For the motorcycle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which bike do you have?
Got a Honda VTX.
Yeah.
1800.
Yeah. Quite the journey getting it up and running, as I recall.
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I ran it all winter.
Yeah.
Just found a warm day and it's still cranked up.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's got to be good riding in that neck of the woods. I mean, there's got to be some good twisties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Down to the Kentucky River and back.
Oh, dude, forget about it.
It delivers.
I love it. Jeff, we're going to jump right in. So we want to chat. It's such a unique space and it's a growing space. I hope. I mean, you can feel it coming.
Yeah.
This older adult group fitness idea and concept. You're seeing more and more places do it. I don't know how many are doing it well, but you can feel the demand of the public. You can see it ticking. I guess back us all the way up first and talk about why are you in this space? And then we'll get into some of the mechanics about what do you think makes it work well from a programming perspective, but get us sort of from the beginning of the story. What are you doing here?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think if you've worked with older adults for very long, oftentimes if you hit them with just enough intensity to get them stronger, to really challenge them, to meet them face to face with what they really want to accomplish in life, you can see them change very quickly. And it was not uncommon to get someone to the end of their bout of care. You're trying to get them back into fitness and you're like, I don't know where to send these people.
Yeah.
And so you end up with your people call them frequent flyers, right? They didn't find a good exercise routine. They didn't find a place where they felt safe. And then they would end up back on the caseload for that problem or another problem, you know, if we couldn't get them hooked on fitness. And it was just frustrating to see that occur, but also see people way down the line. Decades of weakness, deconditioning, frailty, lack of reserve, and seeing older adults suffer from preventable conditions, preventable suffering. It's like, man, if someone had just given you the right context to exercise, if you had found a fun place, if you got hooked on fitness, you wouldn't be here. And I saw that also in my personal life with my grandmother on my mom's side, and just watched a lot of preventable suffering. She had no interest in doing anything else after her spouse passed away, and she sat in a chair by herself in the dark, lonely, and didn't want to do anything. Lost social connection, lost physical reserve, social reserve, cognitive reserve, and just like the preventable suffering that I witnessed as a young kid.
Yeah. And
then seeing the opposite with older adults like my cross country coach who narrowly missed going to the Olympics, who is a 45 plus year old, kicked my butt in 5Ks and outraced me at mile races. It's like, what's going on here? Everyone's not getting the same ride later in life.
When you, going back to what you said about, I didn't know where to send them. I think one thought from a lot of people right away is going to be, well, there's tons of gyms. Like, what do you mean you didn't know where to send them? What is unique about this population that makes all of these options that are already there maybe not desirable?
Yeah. I mean, I think right off the bat, the environment.
Yeah.
If you walk into your average gym, your big box gym, you see lots of heavy equipment. You see no instructions, very little guidance or poor guidance. You see a loud environment. You don't see many people like them frequenting the gym to even feel like they're in the right place. It's people that are barely clothed, listen to music they would never want to listen to, in an environment that's bright and shiny, or just like, it's just very off-putting to begin with. But the equipment also is not designed for them.
In what way? Unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, you think about even like a standard barbell, for example. You've got a men's Olympic bar at 45 pounds. You got a women's at 35. And most older adults that are trying to like start a fitness routine, many of them, if they've not been exercising, can't even lift the bar out of the holder. And it's like, wait, I'm supposed to put weights on this? Or there are machines set up that aren't well explained. They don't go through range of motion, or they are not easy to figure out how to set them up, or how much weight they should use, or what's really going to get them to their goals. There's just no real instructions. There's no guidance. Oftentimes, things don't fit them well or aren't comfortable. Even like seats on bikes, like spinning bikes. If your butt's not been in a saddle since you were 11 or 12, you fast forward to 70 or 80, you don't have the same saddle tolerance. You're looking for something different in a seat for comfort.
For sure. And I got to think too, when they go, and if you say, hey, you should really check out this gym or that gym, they're going to go look at it, and they're probably not going to see people that look like them on the Instagram page, on the website. I mean, it's not the population most put forth to the public when a group is advertising.
No, exactly. I mean, it's designed for someone between 20 and 40, typically.
Yeah. I remember when we were revamping our website on the ice side, remember we couldn't find any older adults exercising. Remember the challenge?
No.
It didn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you think about outfitting your clinic, so we got listeners who would love to see their older adults that they're finishing up with rehab, Medicare runs out or what have you, or the person just skilled care is no longer needed. But boy, they got the bug. You could tell the patient wanted to keep going, wanted to progress. Hard to justify in the mainstream medical model. The therapist wants to get them into that space. They got a bunch of these people. They want to start doing this. From an equipment perspective, if this therapist is sitting there thinking, gosh, I got to have 20 or 30 people that have been here in the past 5 years that would want to come in and do some group fitness, where do you start? Not so much where's the end game, what's the dream gym? What are the things you need for this group of 20 or 25 older adult members that wants a morning class? And I'm assuming usually morning, late morning?
Yeah, mid-morning.
Yeah.
Mid to late morning.
A couple of those.
Yeah.
What do you outfit it? How much space? What kind of equipment do you get off the ground with?
Yeah, it's really not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I would say a set of adjustable dumbbells, or if you've got a standard set, a full set of dumbbells, you're set. Or some adjustable dumbbells, something 0 to 25 pounds. Maybe you've got a pair of 40s, a pair of 50s, and an elevated surface. Some type of box where you can elevate squats, or you can elevate like push-ups or plank positions. Something like some agility rings, which are super inexpensive. If you happen to have some ergs, like some rowers, or some ski machines, like awesome. Bikes are a little bit less friendly just because adjusting the seats, because the way to make it really economical is to do interval training and set up stations. Where you've got, if you've got 20 people in the room, you've got, 4 or 5 different stations, and then you just need 1 or 2 of everything. And then as it grows, you can just scale out your equipment from there. But really, adjustable dumbbells and elevated surface, maybe some agility rings. Maybe you're just teaching them patterns on the floor. Maybe you're taping down. If you've got a gym space, you're taping down a pattern that people can work through. Tons of body weight movements for exercise that can be done. You don't need anything more than that, and some creativity and some scalability. Okay.
I mean, overall equipment-wise, that's extraordinarily manageable. From a space perspective, do you have, and you can't give this exact square feet, I'm sure, but if you are thinking about 20 or 25 folks, maybe you're going to have half of that in a couple classes a day. what kind of actual physical space, per, square foot wise, would you estimate might be merited?
Yeah, I would say 36 square feet.
36 square feet, yeah.
Is about what you need per person.
Okay, I was thinking for a group of 10 that was going to be cozy. About 36 square feet per person. So
that's assuming no traditional barbell.
Which I'm assuming is not the go-to in this population anyhow.
It's really not. I think for personal training or if you're planning to stay small group, I think there's a niche there of people that maybe they've been exercising, they've been around the gym, and the barbell's novel. It's something they're interested in.
Yeah.
But for your run-of-the-mill person who's maybe they're trying to get into fitness, it's like couch to fitness, discharge from home health to fitness, discharge from outpatient to fitness. What we've found is that it takes up a lot of space to store a barbell. It is a lot of demand on the client to learn how to use it changing out the plates, changing out. I mean, it's just like for most people starting out, they really don't need a complex piece of equipment to learn. Yeah. There's already so many barriers with fear, with past injuries, and how to use it and not wanting to look silly if you've never been in a gym. I mean, I remember my journey first going to a CrossFit gym. It's like, man, you can't let me exercise with these animals. They're going to rip me apart. And I don't know what these lifts are. Totally. And I did semi-private training, and then I was like, oh, don't release me into the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was me in my early 30s.
Yeah.
And these sometimes are people that have never been to the gym. Ever. Never stepped foot in a gym, and it's like their eyes are kind of looking around like, man, is this for me? Is this okay? And the perception of the barbell for most older adults is not positive.
Yeah.
They perceive it as being very dangerous.
Yeah. Which is a hurdle we might want to get over, but no need to force it upon entry.
No. I think personal training, or when someone gets familiar, or if they have a training history in the past, there are plenty of people that on-ramp straight can go straight to do that. But if you're trying to serve a wide population of functional ability, whipping the barbell out is
not it.
That's not it.
That's not it. Okay, we're going to get to programming in 1 second. I know that's where we want to spend a lot of our time. But before we do, because that comment you made is so, to me, salient. We know there's a need, that we know where they want to. We know the equipment barriers aren't that large. But the psychological barrier for them, like you said, walking in, not only looking at like, what are these people all doing? I don't know the names of this stuff. All the movements look crazy. But they're also carrying a laundry list of at least things they perceive to be limiting, be it a bad knee or this or a balance issue. I mean, how do you get over that? I guess one answer could be, well, the magic is in some cases you already know these folks because maybe they were doing some rehab or what have you. But when an older adult comes in, you don't have a previous relationship and you're trying to make them feel comfortable. Do you do like a full eval to look at all these concerns they have? Oh, your knee's going to be fine. Your shoulder's going to be fine. What's that barrier to get them to say, this person has a reasonable handle on what's going on with me and I feel comfortable trying this?
Yeah. I think the key is listening.
Okay.
They need to be heard.
Yeah.
You've got to really listen. Whether you've heard it 1,000 times or not, you can't shortcut the process. Say, yeah, we've heard it all before.
You're fine.
That does not go over well. You can't fast track that process in building trust. It's going ahead and asking the details, digging in, be like, yep, I hear you. I hear your concerns. We've had other people do this very successfully. The big thing that we offer is a lot of options. So it's like you can move at your own pace. You can take breaks whenever you want to. This stuff was designed specifically for you in mind. We can meet you where you are. Yeah. So giving multiple options of the movements is something that alleviates a lot of concern. The most powerful tool is if we can just get them to sign up for a free class. So we like to do it. First class is free. Come try it out. If you hate it, no sweat. Yeah. You never have to come back. You'll get a free workout. We'll have a good time. We'll have fun music. We'll keep you safe. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Our coaches are trained. They know how to take care of you. Yeah. So hearing them is definitely the biggest key. What a difference between even the most well-meaning gym. And I'm not saying that gym owner or coach doesn't mean this comment, but when you say to somebody, no, you'll be fine here. We've had some folks like you before compared to, we designed this for you. This is for mostly people in your demographic, or those are completely different comments. Yeah. Okay. You got them in there. They feel safe. Immediately, every rehab person I know
is going to be thinking about the area that I really want to dive in with you on, and that is, how do you program for this population? It's not your recreational athlete that's 28 that can bounce back from a lot of stuff, a lot of growth hormone, a lot of, you can take a lot. The body's it is different when you're 76 or 82.
Yeah.
Where do you even start? And I guess first thing I would say is, let's talk structure, length of classes, amount of people, overall systems and flow. And then we'll talk a little bit about actual like modalities inside of that. How hour long, like everybody else does?
Yeah. So the class experience is 60 to 65 minutes. Really 65 minutes gives a buffer for our coaches because we've got back-to-back classes. So the whole experience should be housed there. And there's 5 minutes to kind of reset equipment, communicate whatever needs to be done there. As far as a complete working time, there's a quick brief of like the benefits of like what we're doing and why.
Yep.
But it's not like a whiteboard brief where we're going to discuss every movement. We save that until it's time to do the movements.
Yeah.
And just like keep it very simple. Here's what we're doing right now. So we've got like a structured warm up after a greeting. So I think I'm going to back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
The experience starts in the lobby.
Yeah. Love that.
The experience starts in the lobby. There are members in there. There's a puzzle. There's music playing. There's videos of success stories rolling. Like people are kind of getting primed.
They don't get a lot of social outlets. I'm not trying to blanket that whole the whole population, but historically speaking.
Yeah. I mean, the statistics are out there for social isolation.
Loneliness,
Once you retire, you lose some of that social connection unless you're super involved in something social. So that environment and the community aspect of what's going on in the lobby is the starting place. There's music that's pumping in the gym. So it's a separate space, but you can hear something's happening. The coach opens the door. There's an incredible greeting. And as much as possible, we're saying names, we're making eye contact, we're passing out fist bumps, we're setting the vibe.
Yep.
Like we're here for you, we're ready for you, we're excited that you're here, and we see you, every single person.
Love that.
So it starts there. Once people get their things settled, we do an intro. Lots of energy, welcoming everyone to class again from a group perspective.
Yeah.
But then we're going to do just like a body weight warm up. No equipment, very simple, something that like, okay, I can do this. Yeah. The last thing you want someone to do is start a class experience with something
right
they
out
can't
of the
do.
gates. Yeah.
Like, great, everyone hop on a rower. What is a rower?
A couple double unders quick.
Yeah, everyone pick out your jump rope. It's laughable.
Right.
Everyone go get your barbell.
Yeah, in
What's
any other gym, they very well might have.
Yeah, what's a dumbbell?
Totally.
I mean, like, we're at a very base level of like, I have no idea what any equipment is.
Yep.
I need to see it. I need, So starting with a body weight movement is really nice because we're just trying to get some blood flowing. We're trying to get some creakiness out of the joints. We're trying to get some synovial fluid moving. Yeah. And the warm-up is going to have some of the basic movement patterns we're going to use later.
Okay.
So we do that. We get everyone moving. Sometimes we'll do like a fun warm-up game, like 3 to 5 minutes of like, you've probably seen like the rowing game where it's like you try to hit many,
the right calories.
But we don't like to penalize our members as much as penalize the coaches because they love watching coaches do burpees. So we'll do some fun stuff like that.
Cool.
And then so 5 or 10 minutes of a warm-up game, or we'll do like a strength and then a workout, just like a traditional CrossFit workout where it's like you'll have a strength portion. Sometimes we'll do like a superset, 2 different movements so we can split the class. So there's usually a little bit more of a, maybe if there's a higher demand strength movement, there's a lower demand because our classes cap at 20.
20, okay.
20 is our cap, one coach on the floor. So we try to be really intentional with how we program so we don't put our coaches in a bind. If you've got 2 complex movements going at the same time with 20 people, how are you going to manage that?
Totally.
So if you at least split them into 10, say you've got a packed house, you've really got your eyes on 10 people. Mm-hmm. So that makes it nice from a strength standpoint, but they're going to do the body weight movement. They're going to do 2 warm-up rounds, and then we're going to get into it on a clock, kind of like a remom. Every minute on the minute, they'll have a required number of reps. So we'll go through it that way.
Yep.
Once that's concluded, there's a quick water break. So that's usually like 12 to 15 minutes of class on strength.
Yep.
And then the workout that will back that up will be usually a 16-minute workout.
Yeah, okay.
If it's strength with the workout after.
Yep.
So typically 4 movements, 4 stations, or five lines of 4 stations, or vice versa.
Okay.
So we've still got our cap of 20. We'll reuse the equipment from the strength in the workout, so we're not moving a bunch of stuff. Because the thing we found when we're in a big CrossFit gym, We spent a lot of time just moving equipment back and forth. Get out the barbells, bring them out, put them out. Now we've got this stuff here. And it's like we were in this huge space, probably almost 3,000 square feet when we needed less than 1,000. And we're just sending people to all corners of the gym, trying to figure out what they need. They're trying to select their weights. They have no idea what they need. They don't know what the movements are. It was just pure chaos.
Yeah.
So that's where adjustable dumbbells are really nice, because you can switch movements and you can switch between people as they come through the line.
Are we talking like the ones, I mean, like you twist the thing and it gets heavier or lighter?
Yeah. So this brand is not promoting them per se, but Flybirds, we're looking for kind of a better option, but Flybirds are like really meant for in-home use.
Okay.
But they go from 5 pounds up to 25 at a station. Mm-hmm. So then we can back up stations where they're going to be heavier movements with just a few dumbbells, a few heavier options. But we know most people are going to be here, and they're going to match well with this movement and being able to adjust from person to person.
Okay.
But also considering the movement and the volume that's going to occur. So most of our workouts are also built on interval clocks. So we're going to run an interval with work to rest. The rest is going to be the transition to the next movement.
Okay.
So everyone's kind of going to be flowing through the workout in the same direction, going from movement to movement. So really you can start anywhere.
Yep.
You're going to get the same amount of time at each station.
Yep.
So do a warm up around there, and then we'll execute the workout from there. We give them a minute to get some water. Hey, do you want to have any problems? Do you need any other options? Because we try to have multiple options for each movement. And we like to do that bottoms up. So it's like, here's your entry level into the movement. One that we feel confident almost anyone walking through the door
Give
can
me an
do.
example of a movement and what this might look like, as far as like this would be the entry into it, and this would be,
Absolutely. So like a burpee, a very intimidating movement.
Totally.
If someone walked in and was like, here's the burpee, here's what we're doing today. You're going to flop yourself on the ground, then you're going to jump up. Most older adults are going to roll their eyes and walk out the door.
Totally.
But if you say, here's our first version of the burpee. You've got an elevated surface. So you've got like an 18 or 20 inch box. You get them in a high plank position, arms are out. You're going to step back into plank position, step forward. So they've done an up down, hands overhead, plus or minus a hop. Here's option one.
Yep.
Most older adults can support their weight in that position, step back, step forward, elevated surface. Mm-hmm. From there, we can either go down on the box, like chest on the box, stepping or hopping.
Yep.
We can do a high burpee position from the ground for people that are more advanced, and then full burpee. Mm-hmm. So it's like really for that movement, we've got 4 to 5 different options.
And I'm assuming you've got that for pretty much every movement that you're doing.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them have to have a scaled option, and we're all lockstep. So it's like each movement has got 3 to 4 different options, and all the coaches know the options.
Love that.
So everyone's got a place to start. And then if there are injuries, hopefully they've told us before.
Yeah.
But if they don't, and we find out, hey, this doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
During that water break, it's like, hey, if you need help, something didn't feel right, come to me. If you need a minute, just go get your water.
Nice.
But then that gives us a little time to triage and work with them. But a lot of that stuff happens on the fly during the workout.
Sure.
And so you've got to be ready.
For sure.
What are we going to adjust to keep this person moving?
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is have an older adult walk into an experience designed for them and them feel like they can't do it.
So talk a little bit, Jeff, on that. You've got to be ready. And I think it's a great time to maybe bring in some of what you all teach in the older adult curriculum at ICE. What doesn't a traditional physical therapist have that hasn't had advanced training in doing fitness with older adults? What skills don't they have that as they go through the ICE older adult curriculum, level 1, level 2, at some point in there doing the live course alongside those online courses, what are some of the key things they learn to get ready? Like you said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much.
Yeah.
So one is being able to make those adjustments
In real
quickly.
time.
In real time.
Yeah.
I think, and this was me too before I interacted with the curriculum, because I'd been out for a minute and then came in and was like, wow, this is completely different. But to recognize like, hey, someone's having some pain in a squat.
Yep.
What are variables I can manipulate to keep them squatting? And just say, oh, no squats today.
Yeah.
Or just switch out the movement completely. Lose the training stimulus.
Yeah.
We wanted to work a squat. Now we're, doing some other movement, or we're just saying no leg movement. That hurts you today.
Yep.
So it's like knowing, can we adjust the weight? Where is the problem? What does this look like? Can I really analyze a squat bottoms up? Mm-hmm. Do I know the specific problem areas for older adults when they squat? Do I know their ankles are often stiff? Mm-hmm. Do I know that if I elevate their heels, because I know 40 to 60% of their dorsiflexion is going to be gone.
Yeah.
You know, like what shoes are they wearing? Like sometimes it's so simple.
Yeah.
But if you've not been trained on how the mechanics work and how to adjust it, or maybe we just move this foot up a little bit, or maybe we go partial range of motion, or here's another version of the squat that's still on the squat continuum where we can still get the benefit of a squat without irritating the symptoms. Yeah. And that's like such a beautiful part of the curriculum that has helped me a ton.
Yep. Where does that live most? Because I'm sure a lot of folks are like, ooh, that'd be the number one thing I'm worried about with older adults is like, how do I modify? Is that more in the online courses, more in the live courses?
Live course.
Yep.
And that's a nice thing is you get to practice those common areas, have an instructor with you to help you figure out what's the most efficient way to get there. Not only how can you get there, but there's a path that's going to maintain the most autonomy for our clients, and it's not touching them. Hands off. Can we coach them? And I think for me, because I tend to be too wordy and talk too much, we know less is more when it comes to coaching cues. Did they even understand what I was asking them to do? Let's start with, do they understand what I was asking for? Before we like jump in and touch and play with a bunch of things and take away their autonomy and their comfort with moving, because so many providers have beat into their head, be careful, that's not safe for you, or you've got bad knees, you've got the bad back, you can't, your body can't tolerate it, and they're expecting that they're fragile.
What percentage of older adults would you say have some level of that baggage on board when you're trying to bring them into the fitness space? These thought viruses.
I mean, my experience, probably 95% would be conservative. Something. Even our high performers that have done really well have had some injury along the lines where they've been told, you can't do that anymore, or you've got to be careful with this from now on. From now on, this never gets better.
I was mentoring a gal one time in North Carolina years ago, and we were seeing a patient. This guy was maybe like, I don't know, late 60s or early 70s. And he bent over without bending his back during lumbar range of motion, pretty normal, kind of fearful about his back or whatever. And he had mentioned he loved golf. And I remember asking him, do you still play? And he said, no, I haven't played in 25 years. And I said, oh man, he played college golf the whole 9 yards. It's 25 years. I said, are you going to get back to it? He said, no, my doctor said never to bend my back. And so I can't get the ball out of the hole. So the first time I went back to play, I couldn't get my ball out of the hole without bending my back forward, so I quit. And I to me, that was such a great example of the power of words from someone in perceived authority. That person changed their entire life. It was their number one passion, and they never did it again. I think when people hear like words matter, no, really though, you have no idea how much those things stick with those people and how hard it is to work back against them.
Absolutely. We had, when we first launched Stronger Life, first month, no idea what we were doing. We had someone that had a hip replacement. I believe it was 8 years before, and she had not been on the ground since because she was trying to follow her hip precautions.
For sure.
So she was like, I can't get into the ground without breaking my hip precautions.
The math doesn't math.
The math isn't mathing anymore. What are you, like, how do you live your life that way? She was almost in tears after we told her, it's like, that was really important early on, but let's just see how it feels, because normal healing, those aren't meant to be forever. It was well-meaning at the time to protect you, which now is even in question
very
for the
much,
literature,
very much so.
whether it was helpful to begin with or not. But at least at the time, 8 to 12 years ago, maybe we thought it was helpful.
Totally.
And she was almost in tears, getting up and down from the ground. It just changed her life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Correct.
Low-hanging fruit.
So low, but so important.
Yeah.
That scaling, clearly a tremendously nuanced skill set. When people are coming at you with a wide variety of things, your ability to recognize, well, here's 3 other options. We're going to preserve the stimulus. Here's how we're going to get it done. Build confidence and get it done. That's the actual movements. That's an entire skill in of itself.
Yes.
What about dosing? I'm assuming when we say, hey, Bertrand, go ahead and give me 80%, he's not going to know exactly what that number might be.
Yeah.
So where do we start? You know, when someone's new in there and it is supposed to be a heavy stimulus in the squat, where in the world do you throw that dart?
Yeah, I think for this population in general, I mean, another concept that we talk about a ton in the course is intentional underdosage. There's this huge...
Unpack that for everybody.
Yeah, intentional underdosage is this concept that someone comes in with an actual true physical capacity, but their perceived capacity is much lower. They think they're down here. Like, Betty, how much do you think you could lift off the ground if you had to? She's like, I don't know, maybe 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and you get Betty in there and you're like, all right, Betty, let's start with the pound. Let's see if you can lift a pound from an elevated surface. Betty, no effort at all, rips that thing off the ground.
Sure.
We're like, Betty, that was laughably easy. We got to go up. Let's try this 2-pound weight.
Yeah.
Right? And she does that one. And then maybe we start getting vague about how heavy the things are.
Sure.
And we're just like, Betty, are you feeling good? Let's just see what you can do. I'll watch you. I'll make sure your form's really good. But just keep ripping this weight. Maybe we get her up to 15 or 20 pounds. She's not straining. She's not struggling. Her form looks good.
Yep.
But she's maybe she's holding her breath a little bit. She's trying a little bit.
Yeah,
We're
with
like,
some exertion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betty, how much do you think you did? It's like, I don't know. Was that 10 pounds? You're like, Betty, that was 20 pounds.
Yeah.
But maybe we're not going to take her to that final end point. We're going to start just a little bit easier. We're going to meet her where she is because she has more of a maybe a fear from an old injury, or she's got some type of cognitive barrier where it's just like she just can't perceive that she's really able to do that's safe for her. So we're going to play it kind with Betty. We're not going to take her to her true end point. We're going to let her play in some easier stuff. So when we're doing this in the gym, we'll let people start laughably easy.
Yeah.
And we'll go over and be like, we train our coaches, be like, that looks great. When you're comfortable, you need to add some more weight.
Cool.
But we try to give them some time, because for some people, that experience is 2 to 3 days of intentional underdosage where we meet them where that barrier is. And we're like, you know, they need some time to feel comfortable with this load that's not very challenging. And then we slowly try to bring that perception of their ability up to their true potential.
Yeah.
But that journey, we've had members that, you know, it's taken years, 4 years to get someone from a PVC pipe to 30 pounds. I found out this week, this member moved 30 pounds in the gym, and there's someone that is moving heavy things every day. But the context of the gym just completely throws them off.
Interesting.
Like they're moving heavy potting soil. They're moving things that are probably 15, 20 pounds in each hand, but in the context of the gym, they don't associate that with being healthy. They've had providers share with them, oh, well, your SI joint is going to go out of an alignment and you're going to have a long bout of care with me. If you lift too much too quick, or if you feel anything that feels weird, you need to stop. You need to take the load down.
Yep.
So that was years. But a lot of people, it's usually weeks. Within a few weeks, they're lifting heavier, not because they physically changed, but their perception of their ability has changed through those experiences, going just a little bit heavier at a time.
I love that. So really early on, it maybe isn't such a physical play. It's not that we're going for a certain percentage.
No.
It's psychological dosing.
It's psychological dosing. What do they think is safe for them?
Yeah.
Can we inspire some curiosity? Can we say, don't look at the weight, just try this one out. If it doesn't feel right, just go back to the other weight.
Sure.
And then later it'll be like, did you realize that was 40 pounds after it went really well?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Now, once you make your way beyond that, and once the physical confidence is developing in this population, do you want to get to a point where they're saying, ooh, Jeff, you got me. Yesterday, my legs were smoked. Are we looking for that response?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a big part of our education coming in. They get emailed reminders like, hey, it's 3 days in. This is the hardest part. You're probably experiencing some discomfort in your muscles.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's called delayed onset muscle soreness.
Yeah.
Your best bet is to move. And our coaches are instructed for new members too, to give them a heads up. The best thing you can do is keep moving. The longer you lay around, the worse it's going to be. Totally. But that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And if that happens for too long, we just go easier next time. Let your coach know what movements you did. We'll dial it back. But that's a sign you're actually going to get stronger.
Yep. How many days a week, Jeff? Because I mean, you do the programming, yeah? I mean,
Yeah.
you sit there and hammer it all out.
Yeah.
How are you organizing it into these days a week? I'm really trying to push somebody's strength. I'm trying to get them physically stronger. And we know all the reasons older adults should do so, versus maybe like conditioning or metabolic conditioning or cardiorespiratory. How are you splitting up? You got 20 people. They're not all the same person with the same goals. How do you plan those weeks? And maybe what are some of the long-term goals that these weeks are building towards?
Yeah. So periodization has not ended up being as strong a factor for the older adult demographic for continued gains as much as it is for the younger population. It's not really panned out in the literature. From anything I've seen recently, it's more about consistency and intensity and bringing those things. So we're not often as much building to a crescendo where it's like you're going to start with your 20 rep
big
max
block
and
of strength, and here comes your 1 rep max at
Yeah.
the end of 12 weeks or
And
something.
we will mix it up to give people the experience of going from higher volume to lower volume and encouraging them to push heavier to kind of recalibrate.
Yeah.
And we try to be really upfront about like, hey, if you did this for 5 reps, we're only doing 3 today. We're doing sets of 3. Go a little bit heavier. Today is the day if you're feeling good to go a bit heavier.
Love that.
So that is really helpful from that standpoint. But really, trial and error has been the biggest thing. I think when we first started, we looked at the CrossFit methodology to just see like what's a repeatable structure that creates some randomness, right?
Yep.
It's purposeful randomness that's created. So it's like, I know I want foundational lifts from a functional standpoint. So I want to hinge, I want to squat, I want to press, and I want to pull. We know that our members on average are coming 2.5 to 3 times a week on average.
Okay.
So it's like those lifts will have, if they don't have a main show in the strength component, then they'll also be in the workout somewhere else, because we don't do that much straight cardio. We're going to use our weight training movements, our compound functional movements, to drive cardiovascular adaptation. So maybe it's not going to be as heavy because it's going to be in an interval. So there's going to be some volume that's driven there for strength change. But I feel confident that we've got the right mix of those things between stations in a workout and in the weight training. So I know that was super vague, but it changes.
Yeah.
There's, if I looked at a whole month, I've probably got 3 days that have some type of superset, and then 2 days, and then 3, then 2, and then I'm backfilling those. And then the other days that there's no strength component, there's always a strength component. We never leave it out. There's always some type of hinge, push, or pull. It may be with a little bit lighter weight where volume's going to drive adaptation, because the literature says both are important. There are some factions of older adults who are not going to benefit from lower volume programs and that are going to need that higher volume. Some really interesting literature that just came out in the last year. So we try to give people opportunities for both.
Yeah. When you look at those 2 things you just mentioned that are so relevant, consistency and intensity, more so than periodization, that intensity piece with older adults is tough for a whole nother reason. Like, number one, back to the fear thing. Some of these folks have not been at, 75, 80, let alone 85 or 90% of maximal effort in almost like the bike thing many years.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable pushing them there? Are you saying giddy up when you see them start to push?
Absolutely. Yeah. We want them to get there, because after that initial training period, just like newbie gains for younger adults,
they're going to plateau a little bit.
They're going to plateau.
Yeah.
And they love, like, they start getting addicted to strength training, addicted to feeling stronger, addicted to feeling better. It's like if we can get them through the first 3 to 4 weeks, most of the time they're hooked because they just feel better. You could not talk them out of not coming back. The ones that they on-ramp well.
Yeah.
And they want to continue to get stronger. The other piece is the social pressure piece, which we don't promote. It's like, we want you to get your best workout, but you better believe Betty's over here eyeing Brenda. Like,
she is.
Brenda, you are half my size. How are you lifting that? And and that natural pressure.
I love that.
They really admire the people that have been there for a long time. And we celebrate that consistency. So we've got different club levels, right? For the people that it's like, you've been here for 25 classes. We celebrate the first class. The first class is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like you did it. You're here. You're part of us now. Come back and join us.
Yeah.
But when they see someone who has a 500 club shirt on,
Get out of here.
or a 750 club shirt, and up
Right.
to 750
That's wild.
Stronger Life workouts. It's
Yeah.
like, they're like, how have you done it? And then they're like a sage, right? They've got their mentor.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they're older.
Dude,
too.
how cool for that person rocking the 750 shirt to all of a sudden be back in a spot where they're a mentor.
Yeah.
You know, like they're now in a space where they've got this respect and they've got some folks asking questions. Talk about feeling needed and socially rewarded.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, I think knowing who created the program, knowing the intent of the program lowers a lot of barriers. But man, that supportive community environment, and we've seen it in the literature forever, right? We know that home exercise programs done in solo versus like, get back in the gym. The gym is your home exercise program.
Totally.
This is how you stay healthy. And it being full of other like-minded older adults, they've not had that experience before, and they've not been around their peers,
They're always
as
the odd
much.
person out.
Yeah.
Every gym.
Yeah. And it's like, they love the fact that they have to be old enough. That's my favorite
how-
question.
how
Are
great-
you old enough?
What is the cutoff?
We do 55.
55.
Yeah.
You got to hit 55 to have the right to be in that space.
Yeah. We used to be a little lax about it, but
Yeah.
our people in their 70s, 80s, and, we're starting to get members in their early 90s.
Wow.
Like, they don't want people rolling in at 52.
Totally.
They're like, this is for us. And
This
there
is our
has to be
thing.
some type of cutoff, or it just becomes so vague. But
Yep.
it's really nice to provide that just for them.
That's
The
fantastic.
exclusivity and the community support is everything.
You mentioned that your average person comes in just under 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
If a new person, a new member or prospective member asks you, Jeff, I want to get stronger. I want to get in better shape. I want to get more independent. I want all the things that it sounds like this could provide. How often do I need to be here? Because you've now seen so many older adults at varying levels of consistency over varying periods of time. How would you answer that? How many times a week do they need to be showing up to get real measurable life-changing gains?
I mean, bare minimum, if we're thinking minimally effective dose twice a week.
Twice a week.
But I really encourage 3 times a week because
Do you encourage above that, 4 or 5?
Yeah. And what usually happens are people that they've been there for a few months. Once they start to feel a little bit of plateau, and once they get used to it, they typically want more.
Yeah.
And they'll go for an unlimited plan. So
Okay.
instead of like that,
So you've
average
got
of 3 times-
options where they can pick X amount of times a week
Yeah.
or unlimited.
So like we've got kind of a toes in the water. Like, yeah, you can come once a month,
Yeah.
or 4 times a month.
Once a week.
It's like you're doing something else, you're busy, you're not sure. Okay.
Sure.
But like really, if you want results, you want to be coming 3 times a week
Yeah.
on average.
Yeah.
2 bare minimum, but 3 that on ramp is so much faster.
Yeah.
That first month, you just get them through the first month. They're great. They're golden. They've seen a lot of life change, but 2 is definitely the minimum. But yeah, most go on to get that unlimited plan. They love it.
And it's great to hear that 2 gets the job. I mean, that 2 gets you something. Because
Yeah.
that's a pretty reasonable allocation of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of our older adults just have not experienced this intensity or this loading or the variety of functional movements.
Yeah.
And they change so quickly. You would think it would be the opposite. You would expect those with the least experience to take the longest. They're the fastest. A little bit of well-dosed exercise,
A little
goes
neuromuscular
long
adaptations
way.
and they're rolling.
Yeah, it's wild. Their life changes pretty quickly. And like once that happens, like you give them the experience. They have the experience of getting stronger, feeling better. You almost can't stop them. It's like you can't really talk them into it. You just want them to slide into the door. It's like, I just want you to try this.
Yeah.
And once they realize they can do it and how much fun it can be with their peers, with fun music, with new workouts every week, they love it. And it's fun.
And it's so cool to hear you say so casually, because you're so in this space of they experience life-changing benefits, because that's what seems so unique about this population.
Yeah.
Like when your 30-year-old gets into exercise, they get fitter, they look better. It's an amazing thing. But I don't know if you would say their life radically changes. This is different.
Yeah. I mean, seeing people change their bone mineral density by a whole standard deviation. Someone that would barely lift a fractional plate above their head, get a 10-pound weight in their hands 2 years later and know they have changed their bone mineral density, entire standard deviation.
If they fall, their odds of a fracture and then death following it are radically reduced, period.
And we know they're also still independently living in their home.
Yeah.
We've seen people reverse their diabetes. We've seen people reverse their heart failure. They were diagnosed with heart failure.
Yeah.
They stayed with us. They worked through it. No more heart failure.
Yeah.
We had someone who was early stages of Parkinson's disease. They got on meds very quickly. And like, we can't say how much was exercise,
Sure.
how much was medication. But what we do know is 6 months later, they went to their same neurologist and said, I see no signs of Parkinson's disease. And we can't promise that result to everyone.
Of course not.
But just knowing it's possible
Yeah.
and getting to keep people and
Yeah.
turn months into years and years, hopefully into decades of doing this.
And you wonder how much of the positive, how much of it's social too. Like, I mean, when you look at that loneliness literature, it's very concerning. I mean,
Yeah.
the effects of that. I mean,
Yes.
so you're reversing simultaneously that loneliness variable that's so relevant in so many older adults with the physical variable. Like, what a power combo.
Yeah. I mean, they enjoy the workouts.
Sure.
But once they get integrated into the community,
Yeah.
man, I think I could almost program anything. I hate to say that. I shouldn't say
No,
that.
I know what you
but
mean.
they love the community so much.
Totally.
They have so much fun. I mean, we've had members that sometimes they get injured and they can't be in, and they just come hang out in the lobby. And we encourage that.
Yeah.
Come back.
I love that.
Come back. Come hang out. Come see your friends. This space is for you. You're welcome here. They do not get that in society.
Not at all.
Such a shame. Such a shame.
Last question, because if someone's listening to this and they're like, they're hearing their purpose in this episode, like, gosh, I've had a lot of these older adults that I know would love this. I've been thinking about it. We've got some extra space. That equipment barrier didn't seem that bad. We already see the social thing happening when they're hanging out in the. I could put these pieces together and maybe give this a go. How do you reach these folks? So if you start thinking about, I want to build this business, these aren't going to be your Instagrammers, I wouldn't think as often.
No.
So outside of natural relationships, maybe you already have a business that brings in some of these people. But if you want to get serious and like reach out to these people and build this thing, how are we finding these folks? How are we getting the word?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think knowing those people and where they like to hang out and then putting up flyers for free education.
Love that.
Like,
Old school.
Better balance. It's guerrilla tactics for sure. I mean, you can drive awareness on Facebook. I think we're going to see this change in 5 to 10 years where we're going to have more and more of this demographic, buying services or trusting services on Facebook or Instagram, but now it's not quite there.
Yep.
We are not there. Awareness, very few direct signups from Facebook. Oh, I saw this. I trust it. I'm going. Very rare.
Not often.
Bringing them into your space, meeting you so you can build trust so they can tell you their 10 or 20 minute story.
Totally.
You've got to invest the time. To my knowledge, in my experience, there are no shortcuts. You've got to do the work. So if you already have a patient population, awesome.
Yep.
Get them together, invite their friends together. It's like, hey, would you be interested in doing this thing? Like, I think we could have a fun community doing some exercise together. So you don't need to see me as a PT anymore.
Yeah.
But inviting them in for a free workshop so they can get eyes on you, they can ask their questions, and that they're welcome, they're wanted, they're listened to, they know that you actually care, you're invested, you want to do this. It makes all the difference. I mean, those workshops are really beneficial. Getting to talk to those social groups that maybe your patients go to. Like, where do you hang out when you're not here?
Yep.
What are your social things? Do you have a group that would like to hear a PT talk about something like bone density or strength or balance? And I mean, we're flush with those type of workshops. If you're interested in this, go to the app, go to the workshops, run one of our free workshops and bring people to you so you can build that connection and trust.
Yeah, and that goes to all PTs on the Ice Physio app under free resources. We've got these workshops. I mean, if you want to go out to the YMCA or you want to go to a local, any sort of community event and put these on, the slides are there, the recordings are there. Couldn't be easier.
Yeah. And I think they're fun.
Yeah.
I think they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Dustin and I, my partner with Stronger Life, we've both got to do a bunch of these and run multiple reps of them. And it's fun.
I love that.
It's fun.
And I've got to think that one thing that helps you, I'm from a really small town, but I'd always go to Burger King in the morning. We only have a couple restaurants, and there'd always be a bunch of old guys sitting around chewing the fat. I can't imagine if one of those guys gets hooked that they aren't bringing in all their buddies in these coffee clutches in these circles, because there aren't a lot of options for fun stuff like this.
No, absolutely.
You know?
So infiltrating those social networks is good.
Yeah.
Are they pickleballers?
Yes.
Are they? Is it a book club? Is it a whatever those social things are? Like if you can get some of those people in, they want to hang out with their friends.
Yeah.
But we had a person in a very active, like women's social group that saw our flyer and was like, "You all are doing this with me." She basically made them.
You're coming
with her. You're coming with me.
Yeah.
And she was such a big advocate. Her name was Lee, and she just. Getting into that social network gave us a very strong nucleus to start. She was consistent. She was bought in. She understood what we were trying to do. She got the mission, and she wanted all of her friends to feel good and be able to do stuff.
Yeah.
What's really funny, this is a caveat.
Yeah, do it.
Or just a little side trail, but our members that come and their friends don't come, they're looking for new friends because they say that their friends are boring now.
Yeah.
They don't want to do anything. Like, I want to go out and hike. I want to kayak. I want to do all these things.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're building new friend networks within our community when their friends don't jump on board, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Talk about changing lives, not just pain.
Yeah.
I mean, you're changing social circles. You're literally your entire ecosystem.
Yeah. People are going out and walking and doing coffee club and book clubs. They're doing all kinds of stuff without us now, like dinner clubs. It's wild.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, Jeff, in kind of zooming all the way out, if I'd love to hear your favorite case story. You've seen so many people come into the gym. You've spent so much time with them. Do you have one that you could share with the community, in particular, the way they showed up and the way, or maybe they're still with you, But I would just love one specific case story before we sign off.
Okay. So, member came to us. One of those members that's now in the 750 club. Yeah. Okay, they're there now.
750 sessions.
They're 750
plus,
now, but at the time they were more like in the 300 club. But big advocate, poster child, had never done any strength training before. Yeah. She got hooked. Over bodyweight deadlifts within a year.
Shoot. Yeah.
And she was in a dress shop. And she was like, what's this Stronger Life shirt? What's this all about? You need to come. It's just right down the corner. She was a business owner. She came in, never done any weight training before. Diabetes, hypertension, just feeling her age. Mm-hmm. She got hooked. Yeah. She got hooked. Beverly. Okay.
Of course.
Beverly got hooked. She, within... it was 2 or 3 months. It was coming up on, I believe it was her 70th birthday. She's like, I want to deadlift 70 pounds by my 70th birthday. She goes from never touching a barbell. She sees all the people around her. Yeah. And she's like, I want to be like them. I want to be like you at the 200 club, being able to do all this stuff. She not only gets brutally strong, she surpasses that goal. I'm pretty sure she lifted 80 pounds by her 70th birthday, gets well above 100-pound deadlift, had never been a runner in her life. Yeah. She ends up, Dustin did a running class for people that are interested in running, like just a quick little 4 or 5 week, like how to run, some basics.
Love it.
And then we found out there was a qualifier for the National Senior Games in Louisville. We're like, anyone who wants to do this 5K and then run up to the qualifier, like, let's go. Yeah. So we created a track team out of a 6-week event. Fantastic. She went on to go in multiple events to the National Senior Games.
Come on.
And never had been a runner before, never had exercised before. And she is like probably one of the biggest raving fans that we have. Been able to reduce her diabetes medication, get off a lot of meds, and just be a poster child for like what's really possible.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, you guys are doing great stuff. I mean, I think the research in the space, the enthusiasm of the population, once they realize, you said so many times, varying ways in this episode, creating a space that's for them, where they feel like that. They're not the odd person out. It's created for them. That's missing. And you all are filling that. And I wish you the best of luck nationwide. Thanks so much for being here, man.
I appreciate it. It's a blast.
Cheers.